BJ, you are here. First, thank you for everything you've done over the years. And obviously, people want to know, have you officially decided to stop fighting?
Yes, of course. This is the end. I'm thinking to myself, why did you step back in the octagon after the beating that Rory McDonald gave you? And the reason is because I really needed to find out if I didn't do if I didn't make this night happen for myself, I would have always wondered, and I would have always went back and forth and begged Dana to let me get back in. And I guess I needed some closure.
And you specifically needed closure with Frankie, or you just specifically needed one more opportunity in the octagon?
One more octagon. I mean, I was gonna see how far I could take it. You know, I was gonna see what happened when I stepped in with Frankie, and then I was gonna see where it went from there. If it was a good victory that I could walk away with, or if I was still hungry and wanted to do it again.
And did you feel that pretty quickly in the fight that it wasn't right anymore?
Well, I definitely, when the blood started going all in my eyes and everything, and the fight started getting real tough, you know, I realized it takes a high energy level to compete with the top people in the world. It's, you know, you could have every technique figured out, you could have this and that and all your theories ready to go, and at the end of the bottom line is you need a high energy level to compete against these guys. They're very hungry. They want to be the best. You know, I can sit here and say 1,000 times that the sport passed me by, but it's just, there's just such quality people, you know, in the UFC at the moment.
Thank you.
BJ in the back here. I was curious if you could reflect for us on what was your best moment, your biggest achievement here in the UFC.
Well, I thought you were going to ask me what was my best moment tonight. Walking out, probably. My best moment in the UFC, you know, I guess now that I look back, you know, I'm going to have to look at my biggest accomplishment, and, you know, it's the 2 belts in the 2 weight classes, and I really wanted to see if I could make it 3, but, you know, you're talking about the best guys in the world. You know, you look at someone like Frankie Edgar, you think, oh, that little guy, you know, this and that, but, you know, these guys, they want it. They want it. And even if you're sitting there and you think you figured something out, or you got something that you're going to, you know, surprise somebody with, first thing you got to do is have more heart than these guys. And that's what all these people sitting up here right now have a lot more. They have that, and you can't see it by looking at them. You can only see it by feeling it.
And would you say that you have any regrets at this point of anything that maybe you didn't get to accomplish that you had wanted to?
The biggest regret would have been is if I didn't get in the ring tonight, because I'd always wonder, and I'd always kick myself in the butt, and I'd always complain to Dana and complain to everybody that, man, I could have did it again. And now I know for sure that I can't.
Thank you.
Yes, this question for BJ. BJ, you mentioned a couple of your great accomplishments in the sport. At the end of the day, what do you feel you want the fans and the commentators and those that follow the sport most? What do you want to be most remembered by, and what do you think your lasting legacy is?
My lasting legacy would, you know, my lasting legacy now is just going to be in highlight reels, and, you know, Dana gave me an opportunity to work with the UFC gyms and do different things, so, you know, I can continue to feed myself over, you know.
He's one of the best 155-pounders of all time. He built that weight class. He built that weight class, and he was responsible for helping build the UFC. That's his legacy.
And this question's for Frankie. Frankie, what do you feel like these 3 fights with BJ Penn have done for your career, and how do you think that this has helped define your legacy in the sport?
I mean, just to be, like I said, before, BJ is going to forever be a part of my career. The upside of my career started with BJ, him giving me the title shot. And, when you have 3 fights with a guy, or whenever I'm mentioned or whenever BJ's mentioned, I feel, the other guy's going to be mentioned. So, I think all lightweights, all little guys, or not even, just everybody in the UFC owes a lot to BJ.
Anything specific that you had worked on in this camp?
Yeah, I was trying to use some range, some distance, but Frankie mixed it up well, cut some good angles, stayed busy, and he got to me.
And finally, do you think you'll stick around in martial arts now that you're not fighting? Do you still want to remain a part of fighting, or do you want to do something completely different now?
We'll stick to the UFC gyms at the moment, and that's a lot of what I've done my whole life and a lot of what I know. So it's going to be tough to completely walk away from all that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ariel.
BJ, congratulations on a great career. I wonder, talk about your first win over Matt Hughes, because that remains one of the, epic fights in UFC history. Do you think in the aftermath of that, had you stayed in the UFC and not, had the contract dispute gone out, that, you might have accomplished some of those other goals that you set up to do, when you were talking about, running the table back in the day?
I was thinking about that a few months ago, actually, and who knows what could have been if I had all those other fights in the UFC, and it did cause a rift for a while, and it would have been interesting to see how everything would have unfolded.
And you mentioned in the little video that was played in the arena before the fight that, Frankie was your greatest rival. And, I kind of immediately thought of Hughes and GSP. And I'm just curious, since you said Frankie's your greatest rival, how you characterize those two and your, rivalry with them? Because a lot of people thought, maybe you were the 3 best welterweights of all time, too, or up to that point,
Mm-hmm. No, without a doubt, me and Matt and me and George have had some legendary clashes together, and they were good. It was it's just tough, definitely. I think that's what kind of made my career something to watch and to look at, is that I did have these different rivals throughout the years, and a fighter, like everybody always talked about Roy Jones at the beginning of his career. He never had anybody to fight against, and that's what makes a career great, to run into all these people. So I was actually just blessed to have these rivalries with these 3 people.
Question for BJ. Dana always talks about the guys that have built their careers from a countryside standpoint, meaning like GSP with Canada, or Cain Velasquez with Mexico. You were a guy that maybe before anybody had an entire state behind them. I mean, the entire state of Hawaii. When I was there, you see BJ Penn billboards. I mean, I've never seen that before in the sport, and that was in 2006. What did it mean to have Hawaii behind you? And the crowd this entire week was insane. I mean, your name gets mentioned, your video pops up. I mean, again, you're a fighter. I don't know how much that plays into it, but what did that mean to you?
It's always been so amazing, the support I got. It would be the strangest thing. I'd lose a fight and I'd go walk down the road. I couldn't walk down the road, and I'd say I'm gonna get more famous every time I lose a fight, or different things, and people just could connect with me. They felt that I was just a normal human being. In the off season, I'm overweight, and I'm just trying my best, like anybody else. I think the appeal was that, here he is. He's just a normal guy, just like us, and he's giving it his all.